Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Beat Cancer Bootcamp kickoff call with Dr. C. You know, cancer is really frightening, but not when you have Dr. C on your side. Am I right, Dr. C?
That is right.
Dr. Lee-Erin Keneally is truly the #1 cancer fighting missionary doctor that I am just so honored, so privileged to have here with us today. Her book, The Cancer Revolution, truly changed my life, reading it, absorbing it, and now we have this boot camp so we can help all of you as well. So in our boot camp kickoff call today, we are going to do two things in the next hour. In the first 30 minutes, we're going to go ahead and look at the website, answer any questions around the program itself, and then we're going to go ahead and open up into question and answers. We've already had some great questions coming in, so we are all fired up and ready to go. Any questions, please post on chat. Otherwise, let's get started. Now, I'm going to remind you, if you haven't yet had a chance to do the quiz, please do fill out the quiz. It's important for us to understand better your background, your history, and really more importantly, why you are here in the boot camp. Well, how can we help you? So once we understand better how we can help you, then we can make sure that you are overjoyed and feel like we did an outstanding job in the boot camp to help you. So if you haven't done the quiz, please do so. With that said, let's dive in. So you all should have received a welcome email with a link to log into the boot camp website. When you log into the website, and by the way, if you have any questions at all, I've shared my phone number, you have our email addresses, they're all under contact information. But this is what the website looks like. Can everybody see the website? Dr. C, are you able to see the website as well?
Yes, I can fully see it.
Wonderful. So we will put the video up here. Today's video will go up here. As you scroll down, you can see we have a welcome section, meal plan, heal zone, workouts, supplements, meditations, and then we go into a day-by-day program. The goal of the boot camp is to truly help put you in a place where you're fighting off cancer, beating cancer, and really getting into a mode where your body is healing and healthy. With that said, let's just do a dive into what these sections are. So welcome section, you can get a little more information about myself, as well as Dr. Lee-Erin Keneally's amazing background. The schedule of calls. If you ever want to know when the next calls are, we give you a little printout here, or you can put notes. So the next call will be March 28th and April 11th. So as you can see, when you're in the site, you can look on the right side and navigate. So we've got the team, contact us. Any questions, click there and you'll have our information. We have a little bit of 7 tips for success you can access on your own time. It's to help you figure out how to maximize benefits out of the boot camp. We've also given you 30 days free access to a printable version of my Heal Journal. So I had colon cancer at 35. And, you know, being, as you can see, sort of a skinny Asian, it sort of blew the minds of a lot of the doctors that ended up diagnosing. I self-diagnosed, in fact. When I got healthier, I ended up creating my Heal Journal, which I felt was just so important for me to keep notes and track, do gratitude, write down what I was adding, what I was removing. So we've given that to you to use for 30 days. You just click on it, download and print. It's two-sided, it's black and white. You're not gonna spend a lot of money on ink printing at home. And if you like it, then you can of course go and buy the full 1-year Heal Journal for this year. Here's the cancer quiz. If you haven't taken it, please do. Okay, so that's the welcome section. The next section is your meal plan section. Let's just do a quick, brief dive into that. So the meal plan section, you can start with the meal summary. We have shopping list, simplified 14-day menu. Dr. C has been so gracious in providing a lot of the information, recipes, supplements, workouts. However, there's a lot more in her book. So if you like some of the recipes and the workouts, etc., please note that there are a lot more in her book as well, and I'll show you where that is as well. But let's take a look quickly at the meal summary. Now keep in mind that if you've been diagnosed with cancer, we want you to follow your practitioner and nutritionist's set plan. Dr. Keneally, of course, has the modified ketogenic diet, which is in her book. The menu below contains primarily her recipes, but also has about 25% additional recipes. So this is what it looks like. You know, ideally, we want you to eat sort of twice a day, 2 big meals, and then, of course, have some healing drinks, etc. So a typical day might look like you have a lemon drink in the morning, Dijon dill salmon for lunch, and a vegetable soup for dinner. And if you're still hungry, so remember, the treat is only on the days you're hungry. Let me rephrase that, starving. So if you're moderately hungry, it's okay to sleep on a slightly hungry stomach, right? But if you're like starving and I just can't do this, then we've offered you an additional, we call it a little treat, because we want you to ideally stick to 2 big meals a day in order to give your body that intermittent fasting type of an experience. So that would be Dr. C's Coco Loco Nut Shake. So similarly, you have a summary here of the different options. And this diet is going to be primarily driven, as I mentioned, by Dr. C's recommendations. We've also given you shopping lists for those of you who are very interested. You can kind of scroll down and look at kind of day by day and print out the lists that make sense. It also helps you plan your day, your week better, right? So we've done that for you. In the past, we've had suggestions on, this is so complex, I can't do this, I work 80 hours a week, make it simpler. So we created what we call a simplified model. So it's you pick a meat, you pick an oil, you pick some greens, you pick some sprouts, you pick some cruciferous and some herbs and some spices, and you just kind of cook it as a one pot. And that simplifies for those of you who really just want to make one pot and eat it maybe 2 days or so. So that's another, simplified option where you can pick and choose what you're going to do. Dr. C provides some incredible data on anti-cancer ingredients and tools that are listed here. And then, of course, we have all the individual recipes and options. So that's the meal plan part of the program. We also have, of course, on every given day, some recommended activities. We have some workouts. Your body needs to be fit and energetic, and Dr. C is going to share all of this briefly. And here are all the wonderful exercises here, but you'll also receive them day by day. These are all videos. These are all doctor approved. So, we recommend you do these on a daily basis. Let's take a quick peek at supplements. So we have a list here of Dr. Keneally's supplement list, her anti-cancer. This is the list down here. You can look at it. You can click to buy now. Please also note that there are some additional recommendations, including the sauna, the air purifier, the water system, as well as the book. And if you're interested, then those can be accessed via orders at this email address right here, cfnmedicine.com. So if you have any questions on pricing, etc., for those are all listed here. Getting your nutrient levels tested, you'll notice that we've actually included sections.
I've got a little video. I need to listen.
Oh, it's
okay.
I hear someone. If you could mute, let's see, we can stop your video. No worries. So anyone that's come on after I started, if you could mute if you could stop your videos, that would be fabulous. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going. Nutrients tested. So this section below, again, is from Dr. Keneally's groundbreaking book. You can take a look at the information around testing, specifically around nutritional deficiencies. The 4 core anti-cancer supplements, cancer-fighting supplements, so there's some great information around supplementation to get your body fighting fit. If you have any questions, again, go under Contact Us and you can send us a little quick ping. Meditation. Stress is a big one. Dr. C is going to talk a lot about stress shortly and why it's so critical that we are all stress-free during the next 14 days. I always say we call it a boot camp, but we want you to think of it as a retreat. That's why the website looks like a spa website. I've been told, oh my God, your website looks like I'm at a spa of some sort. That's on purpose. We want you to relax. We want you to deep breathe. We want you to meditate. We want you to do any kind of an exercise that's rejuvenated, restorative. So we've given you lots of options here. And in these options, of course, you will have access to them on the day-by-day basis. So you don't have to come to this section if you don't want to. We will email them to you on a daily basis, but if you're interested, you can, of course, access here. There's also a lot of podcasts that we've done with Dr. Keneally in the past that you can access. Let's take a quick peek at day one. So you will be receiving an email every single day. Some of you have already been receiving them just so you could warm up. The program officially begins for you tomorrow, meaning today is prep, kickoff, get organized. Now, some of you may say, you know, I'm not really ready tomorrow, and that's okay too. You have access for 60 days to the program. So take your time. You can absolutely start tomorrow, or you can start the day after, or you can start on a Monday. But when you start, we really want you to continue doing it for 14 days to maximize benefits. So here's the welcome to the first day of Beat Cancer. We give you a quote to inspire you. If you don't take care of your body, where will you live? That quote directly comes from Dr. Keneally's offices. It was outside the hyperbaric chamber room. And I loved it. And I took a picture of it, and we decided to share it with you as a day one quote. Mindful moments. So this is a 3-minute affirmation meditation. We would like you to try it first thing in the morning when your cortisol is high. We've also given you the Heal Journal, but you don't need to use that. You can just post a single word on Facebook. That's one way of doing it. Join our Facebook group and just share your one word, or just write it down. Of course, that's also what the journal is for. Keep the journal next to your bed. Wake up in the morning, write one word that empowers you to feel, you know, I am healthy, I am cancer free. Anything that you want to do also to empower yourself. We recommend a healing drink in the morning. So you'll see there'll be smoothies, green drinks, juices. The first one that we recommend, of course, is just a simple lemon apple cider vinegar concoction. Here's a Dijon Dole salmon, which we recommend as your first meal for the day. And of course, you'll be able to click here and get the recipes. And then we do recommend every day what we call your de-stressing mini vacations. So every day we want you to take just a 5 to 10 minute mini vacation. So your options on day one are you can put on some music and dance, or you can give yourself a 5-minute self-massage. It's called Abhyanga, and we've given you instructions in the Heal Zone section. We typically recommend a workout around 3 p.m. because that's when you get hungry or tired or irritable and your body's starting to feel it. And we've given you some, you know, every day we recommend doing one workout that Dr. Keneally's team has put together for you. Dinner, we recommend an early dinner. And so, of course, here you've, 5 or 6, here's your vegetable soup. And if you're still hungry, only if you are starving, we recommend the Coco Loco Nut Shake. And time lights out at 10 p.m. So you start to unwind, deep breathe, take a hot bath, turn off your technology, write in your Heal Journal or on Facebook your one word of gratitude, and sweet dreams. And tomorrow we start again. So that is the overview of the program. Any questions? I'm going to go over to, and we will get started with the Q&A section. Okay. There we are. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Okay, let's get started. I see one question. Let's see. Oh, just a hi. Hi, Sherry. All right, Dr. C, let's get started with the questions. So the first question is, what is cancer? What triggers it? What creates it?
Well, before we get started, I'd like to welcome everyone that has joined this boot camp. I appreciate their bravery. I appreciate their interest. I appreciate the dedication to the mission to creating this amazing awareness on health, not just for cancer, but on health in general. And, community is the guru of the future. When people work together to be healthy in community, that is the single greatest factor in all of us getting healthy. So we started this with this inaugural group of individuals who are interested in self-mastery. And Rena asked me, Rena and I did a while back a podcast. And of course, Rena's mission is personal for herself, how she ever got cancer to begin with, young and vital, and you know, how could this happen? And now she hears here years later telling her testimony. And then a lot of people know my reason, my whole life, unfortunately or fortunately for everybody, that my whole life is how not to get cancer. So unfortunately, you know, my mother used a drug while she was pregnant with me that they found out many years later that caused cancer. So of course I had to go to cancer institutions to get checked. And of course I've been checked ever since. But when you go to a regular doctor, they don't know how to check you for cancer. And patients unfortunately tell me that every single day. And then what they have to offer you is very limited, because the World Health Organization says that the cause of the pandemic of cancer is diet, what you eat and what you put in your mouth, and lifestyle. I had a patient come in today for cancer prevention. She goes, I have never in my life had a doctor ask me all these questions. She goes, I've gone to doctors for a lot of problems. I have abnormal PAPs. I have HPV. I've never had a doctor ask me about so much about my lifestyle. Well, that means we've really, really, really gotten off what doctors are supposed to do, because the word doctor means to teach. So I love to teach my patients. I want my patients to have the privilege to know what I know. And that's why we're going to be doing this boot camp today, tomorrow, and far in the future. Because as you know, we're all under construction. And we're all learning every single day. I'm over 60, and I'm amazed at the excitement of learning every single day. And you will have a front row seat to learn what I know. And I have the fortunate experience of, you know, working 31 years, 41,000 patients. And after that time, you learn a little bit. And then, of course, I'm always learning. I'm always constantly going to conferences. I'm always talking to people all over the world, what they're doing, how they're fighting, whatever, the newest, latest, greatest, and whatever we want, whether it's to be beautiful inside or outside. So with that said, cancer. So cancer, why, first of all, is there a pandemic of cancer? So cancer now is 1 in 2 men. So that's 50% of the males alive today in the US have cancer. 41% of females. So why isn't the news, why isn't every magazine, every radio station, why isn't everyone talking about a devastation to someone's life? They talk about the latest shooting, but we're also having the latest crime in our own personal life with the diagnosis of cancer. And you know, one person doesn't have all the answers, not one doctor, not one institution. It's going to take the community of people to prevent cancer, and if someone is diagnosed with cancer, to treat cancer. That we've got to use the brains and the smarts and the know-how of all kinds of people who are very talented and skilled in their job, like someone who does emotional work, so maybe someone who does energy work, maybe an acupuncturist. But we have people that have amazing gifts to heal us. And so, but we have to know about it. We've got to use those skills. So we can't rely on a doctor, a hospital, a institution, a treatment, because we know that Nixon declared war on cancer in 1970, and now we are 50 years later, the 5-year survival rate is 2%. So we know that the conventional paradigm of medicine doesn't work. So we have to say, first of all, the cure for cancer is prevention. And if you get diagnosed with cancer, we need to look at all the options. But the Hippocratic Oath says, first, do no harm to your patients. So I know that patients every single day undergo grueling treatments, whether it's surgeries, whether it's chemo, whether it's radiation, whether it's a surgery on top of a surgery, and not to mention the emotional trauma that I had a patient tonight that I was seeing, and I was talking to her, and she was saying, gosh, Dr. Keneally, you were right. Me addressing my emotions from the very beginning was the most important part of this journey. Now, this is a patient. I need to just share this patient with you. She is a 42-year-old lady from Texas. She was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. It was a very small lump. She had chosen to completely do natural treatments under the guidance of her oncologist in Texas. So the patient was doing dietary interventions, energy treatments, all kinds of different treatments. Her oncologist said, because your iron is so low, I want to give you iron. Well, he gave her iron drip and the cancer grew. Then he gave her, she was estrogen receptor positive. He gave her an estrogen blocker and it made the cancer grow. So you think, okay, she's estrogen receptor positive. He gave her a hormone blocker. You'd think it would prevent it from growing. Right. So you see, and now she's here today, and the cancer is about the size of a pie, a small pie, coming out of her breast, I would say 4 inches high and about 6 inches wide.
Oh my goodness.
So she has to be treated daily, twice a day, along with all the other treatments that we're doing. So you want to work with one person, many people, to make sure that you do have an understanding of, number one, what's going on. And that's why we're doing this boot camp, because patients have continual questions. And I understand, we can fill libraries with the information on cancer. Okay. So there's always, and things are always changing. Always changing. For me, I'm constantly learning something new. So how does cancer work? Well, we have trillions of cells in our body. We have about over 50 trillion. So that's 12 zeros. I always tell people that's a lots of things going on. And each cell in your body is important. Don't think that one cell doesn't matter. Every cell is important. Those cells make up organs and glands and your blood supply. And so those cells are taking care of you 24/7. That's why you need to know how to master your self-care. And that's what this is all about. The world we're living today is not conducive to the survivability of man. And all you have to do is look at our children. Are our children well or sick? Our children are sick, unfortunately. So we have autism diagnosis, we have ADD, cancer's now the #1 killer in men and children. We have autoimmune diseases, we have all kinds of diseases. Now, children are not supposed to have chronic illnesses at the age of 6. So we have to say our children are the canaries in the mines. They are messaging us, telling us, they're screaming at us, telling us that something is wrong. And we are not, as a society, listening to this vital information. And I know I have 7 kids, so I know how this works. And so we all have to take the world by storm and awaken yourself, your friends, and your family to change the disintegration of man, because that is what is happening. It's true. I know. If you look at it in adults, cancer and heart disease are neck and neck, #1 and 2. The 3rd leading cause of death in this country now is drugs and accidents, meaning prescription errors and prescription doctor, mistakes. And so, look what we know in the last 25 years in heart disease, and it's increasing. How can it be increasing? How can cancer be increasing when we know today, right this second, we know how to prevent cancer and period, and do early detection. So all it takes is one cell with its mitochondria. Inside the cell is something, a little organelle called the mitochondria. The mitochondria are complex organisms that offer the self-protection of the cell. The mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of the cell. They make our currency of life. And we all want to feel good and have great energy, so we have to have powerful mitochondria. Well, what takes care of the mitochondria? Oxygen and what we eat and consume every day. So if we don't eat the foods that nourish the mitochondria and help the mitochondria function optimally, we can't take care of the cell. So every single day, with what we drink, what we breathe, what we eat, and what we put in our body, a lot of things, no matter what you do, are loaded with toxicity. Okay? We all try, even the people who try to eat well, even the people we try to, do everything well, you can't be perfect. I'm not perfect. Even though I know all these things, I can't be perfect, and you can't be perfect. And the ascent of perfection is never attainable. So please, never try to be perfect. Never. Because the last time I looked, there are no perfect people on the planet. And so as long as you need to be happy where you are and where you're going today, just today, not yesterday, today, and not tomorrow, because tomorrow's not here. So let's just be consumed about what's going on today. We've got to be in the present moment, enjoying what we're doing right this second, and enjoying the community of everyone who is listening, because we are going to change the world. Everything we're doing right now is going to change the world. And you are the impetus of changing the world, because I can't do it by myself, and Rena can't do it by herself. So just imagine every cell with this mitochondria, and this mitochondria gets bombarded with 100, 500, 200 chemicals or toxins or radiation or whatever. And then there's the worst thing that affects us all, stress. And you think stress is not a chemical or a toxin or a poison? It is. It destroys the DNA of the mitochondria. You weaken the cell. It loses its regulation of apoptosis, which is programmed cancer cell death. And you make an abnormal, immortal cell that tries to take you over. And so that's why we can't judge a book by its cover. You can't go get blood tests by the local doctor and tell him, like, patients ask me all the time, well, can you tell, I got perfect blood work and a month later they have cancer? And I go, no, there is no test specifically in your blood work that shows you have cancer. I have patients who have had stage 4 cancer and their blood work is pristine. So we can't use markers. We can't use blood tests. We've got to look down in the deep cavernous roots and the origin of all diseases. And that, because medicine has discovered so much. I mean, this is the beautiful thing. We know so much. What I learned 34 years ago in medical school is completely grown. I mean, medical school needs to be 6 to 8 years long now because the information and medical knowledge is doubling probably every 90 to 120 days. So what we were doing a year ago is old now. So because there's new stuff coming out all the time. So you think cancer's not, I tell people, cancer's not that difficult to happen in our body today, and it's happening today because all of us know a friend, a brother, a sister, a cousin, someone who has cancer. It's a one degree separation, and then a lot of people on the call, they have cancer.
That's right.
And they've got to get themselves and become victorious. And so today, why do we have so much cancer? Because we have, first of all, so much stress. Number two, the environment that our living creatures are living in is really not healthy. It isn't healthy. And so I tell people every day, you've got to create your own personal healthy space. I'm in the same boat. Like, for example, electromagnetic fields are all around us. So that means we have to do things to counteract it. That means we need to be in nature. We need to do things that help us. You need to turn off the electricity to your bedroom every night so that that electrical activity is not occurring 24/7. Do I like to live like this? No, but I want to be alive. I want to be full of energy. So I am going to compromise and do the things that I know are going to be best for me. As you know, true wealth is health.
Yes.
True wealth is health. You can have all the money in the world and all the resources, but if you do not have your health, life is not fun.
I'm living.
Yes. And so I have lots of patients that have plenty of resources and money, and they can't get themselves well. So we've got to err on the side of caution now, because we know, all of us know that are looking and searching for health. We all know what's going on, whether it's either cancer or heart disease or autoimmune or someone losing their brain or something catastrophic. You know, we aren't seeing small little things today. We're seeing devastation. Diabetes and pre-diabetes is 75% of the population. Obesity now is 75% of the population. And we all need to help one another get out of this declining state of health.
Absolutely.
You know, I was reading this weekend about that U.S. ranks like 20th in the world in happiness. That's terrible. So all these other countries are happier than I, because what do the other countries do? Is they all are in community and they help one another. We have, you know, it used to be, I'm from Texas, so everyone was from Texas was like that.
Yeah.
And I moved to California and things changed.
Yeah.
And so we need to bother ourselves to know who our neighbor is, know who are the people who are, and connect, because we all can add value to one another's lives.
So true, Dr. Keneally. I feel your pain. I literally can feel your frustration in saying, I want to save the world. I want to eradicate cancer. And I need you to join me in this movement. So I'm with you. I'm going to do everything in my power to spread your word so we can educate everybody, not only on this call, but beyond, the friend circle, the family members, so we truly can take charge and not be a victim. Because I feel like at this point, we're all behaving like victims of cancer. You know, you mentioned something interesting. The Blue Zone book talks a lot about the importance of community as one of the reasons that the people that live to 100 in certain communities live to 100. It's their community. It's their very close-knit community. So I'm hoping that with the boot camp, we can do that in one small way. We can create a community of support, that you can ask us questions. We're always there for you. You're there for each other. As we go through our journeys, we're sharing, we're learning together.
That's right.
The other thing you mentioned was testing. I know you have some gems. I know you said that, you know, blood work we can't find out, but I know you have this amazing breakthrough tests to tell us about. So tell us about what is the new groundbreaking testing systems that are available that you've been offering to patients as well to screen for cancer before it gets to a point where it's now a problem.
Right. Well, I'll give you a couple. First of all, there is testing available now, but the doctors need to know about the test, and they need to know how to interpret the existing blood tests that people do. And I say that because I have patients come in all the time and they bring their blood tests, and I say, oh, well, did the doctor tell you this? Did they tell you this? Did they tell you that? And they're like, no, you know, they didn't point those things out. So usually on regular blood tests, the doctor's not communicating to the patient the small aberrations that should have been annotated at the beginning. But one of the 3 tests any doctor can do to really ascertain if anything is going on is there's the blood test called the C-reactive protein. Now, it's a C-reactive protein. It's a marker of inflammation. It doesn't tell me where the inflammation is. It tells me there's inflammation. Inflammation is fire in the body. Inflammation is the precursor to all diseases. The top two diseases are cancer and heart disease. So we want to make sure our patients don't have that. Yes, can very small adjustments decrease inflammation? But if you were driving on the freeway and your red light on the engine came on, would you go, oh, never mind, no big deal. Let me go to Home Depot and get duct tape, put duct tape. No big deal. No, you would immediately. You wouldn't wait until you're on the freeway and you have to pull over because your car will not go another millimeter. So no, you wouldn't do that. So why do we do it every day in health? We ignore these sounds, symptoms, the warning bells in our system, in our body that something's not okay. So the CRP is one of those major warning systems. So any doctor can do this at any lab. You can order it on your own. You can, it's a routine test. Then there's the blood test called the hemoglobin A1C. So the hemoglobin A1C is a reflection of your blood sugar over 90 days. Now, it's not only a reflection of your blood sugar, it's a reflection of aging in the body. So why is your body aging? So you don't want your body aging because aging predisposes you to what? Every disease. So your hemoglobin A1C tells you that your sugar's high, if it is high, and you're aging. So we want to make sure those are in the ideal range. What is the ideal range? Somewhere between 5.0 and 5.2. I'm not saying that your blood sugar is perfect, you're not going to get cancer, because that's not the case. But that all diabetics and people who are pre-diabetic are predisposed to cancer. Now, the other blood test that's very, very important is your vitamin D levels. 99% of the population has a low vitamin D. And so vitamin D prevents cancer, helps in treatment of cancer, helps with blood sugar, helps with your bones, helps with your mood, helps with your brain, so many things. So that's another reason. So if you take vitamin D every day, you should take at least 5,000 units of vitamin D every day. That will help prevent and treat cancer. Now, the other blood test that I'd like to do on every single person, it doesn't matter if they're 20 or 80, is DHEA sulfate levels. DHEA is the major hormone made by the adrenal glands. What are our adrenal glands? They're our stress glands. They're little glands that sit on top of your kidneys like little hats. And DHEA sulfate is the main gland. Well, all of us we now know are stressed. Everybody's stressed every day. You wouldn't believe very few of my patients have these very powerful, strong adrenal glands. And so your DHEA, it's the hormone of stress, immunity, and longevity. So those four tests will tell you if things are imbalanced. If those aren't imbalanced, then your risk for cancer go up. The other one is thyroid. The thyroid is the battery to your body. The thyroid gland sits in your neck, and it drives the metabolism of every single cell in your body. Your body temperature, for example, if you don't have good thyroid, you have low body temperature. You have a low body temperature, you have low immune system. So it's very important that your thyroid, which is your engine of your body, the battery of your body, it's working for you. So those tests should be preliminarily done on every single person. I don't care how old you are or anything. You want to know those numbers. Now, there are more sophisticated testing. So other sophisticated testing is a panel called the Cancer Profile, and it's done by a laboratory in Florida called American Metabolic Laboratories. And it does a urine and blood of HCG. HCG is human chorionic gonadotropin. Everyone knows HCG because of the diet program. But if you're pregnant, your HCG is positive, and it's also a malignancy marker. So that is part of the panel. Now, the other parts of that panel are the DHEA, the thyroid, a liver function, CEA. CEA is a non-specific marker for many cancers. And then there's a very important marker in that panel called the PHI. Now, the PHI is the enzyme of hypoxia, low oxygen. Well, Dr. Otto Warburg got a Nobel Prize that cancer cells thrive and survive in low oxygen through a chemical reaction called fermentation. It's an anaerobic form of survival for the cancer cell. So if you're low oxygen, that means all your cells are compromised. So that tells us like maybe something simmering, fermenting, brewing in our body that we have to do something. Well, I never stop there because what I've learned is I don't want anyone to get cancer. So I go, okay, well, let's check circulating tumor cells. And we use a Greek lab called RGCC. People always go, Greece? Well, I thought Greece was like not alive anymore, right? So I go, no, Greek is well alive because of this lab. So this lab is in Greece. They're actually in 14 countries, and they are probably the premier lab in addressing circulating tumor cells. They have about an 86% success rate. And I tell people, even if I send your cholesterol to 10 different labs, I'm never going to get 10 exact results. And so it's circulated. It gives me an idea. Well, what happens if something is a millimeter in size in your body, 1 millimeter, remember that's a pencil line, it starts releasing circulating tumor cells. Circulating tumor cells are what is going to help that cancer grow and spread, more importantly. So if the patient has circulating tumor cells, we know cancer is happening in their body. And then I will do bioenergetic testing because your body doesn't lie. It tells us what's going on. So if you look at a tree outside and you look at the leaves and you look at the branches and you look at the trunk, you go, wow, that looks great. That tree is beautiful. But the beauty in the tree is the unseen, invisible parts and that of the roots, the origin. So then I do bioenergetic testing to tell me, how are your organs functioning for you? How are they working for you? Does cancer seem to have, is there an environment for cancer? Do you have candida? Do you have toxicity? Do you have viruses? Do you have all the things that contribute to cancer going on? And I can ascertain in this timeline of cancer, because you know cancer, you just don't wake up and have cancer one day. It takes 10 years for the doctor or practitioner to see cancer in your body. And so we've got to do a beautiful tapestry to see what's going on. Let me give you an example. We had a little girl come in. I say little, she wasn't that little, she's 40 years old. But she came in because she had breast cyst. And so she said, I just want to make sure these aren't cancerous. So she had a breast ultrasound, and the ultrasound said appears benign. And then we did an MRI, and we said that it says it appears benign. So then what do? We ordered all of our blood tests, just like I was talking, the sugar, the inflammation, the vitamin D, the DHEA levels, and all the regular blood tests that you have to do to make sure the body's working. And then we ordered the cancer profile, and that was almost perfect. So I go, okay, well, we got to make sure. So then I ordered the circulating tumor cells, and they were 6.9, which is quite high. And then we did the bioenergetic testing, and for sure, it showed, yes, these cysts that she was having were basically cancer in the making. So just because your biopsy becomes negative, or just because a scan shows that it looks benign, you want to make sure. And that's what I do. That's my expertise, is I want to make sure that we have it all figured out. And every day we're figuring it out better and better and better. And so I know patients go to the doctor because I see all the time, I do phone consults of unbelievable stories all the time where the patients were not properly checked. And then if you've ever had cancer, You have to be checked for cancer all the time. Cancer is a chronic condition, just like high blood pressure. When you have high blood pressure, you go to the doctor and you get checked and he gives you medicines and he tells you, hopefully he tells you to make lifestyle changes and lose weight and eat this way and all that kind of stuff. But you don't say, oh, well, I never need to go see the doctor again. He wants to see you in 3 months or whatever time period it is. And so cancer is no different. It's a chronic illness because if you've had cancer once, you're high risk for cancer again. So you have to change the way we think and we have to change the way we live. I tell people there is no other, I don't have any other magic. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to change the way you think. You have to change your emotional consternations, whatever that is dragging you down. Because we're all getting our own way. We do, let's face it.
Absolutely.
That's why community works. Because your friends, if they really care about you and really love you, they're just going to tell you the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have lots of questions coming in, and I want to make sure we get as many of those answered. So let's get started. So the first question is, and I'm not going to ask these in any order. So,
and we can save them, we will get them answered and we can save them for all future.
Exactly. So here's just a new one that came up that's relevant to what you've been sharing. If I ask my PCP to order these labs, could you share normal limits and how do you decrease inflammation if it's high? And how to decrease the DHEA sulfate if the adrenal glands are high? I'm 35 with significant family history of cancer. How often should I have these screening labs?
Okay, so she's 35. I would recommend seeing a doctor once a year. And you want to see a doctor who has training of conventional medicine and all the new modern medicine. So the new modern medicine is the things that are coming out all the time. And nature is part of that process. Nature and using natural things and herbs. Herbs have been around for thousands. Plants have been around longer than humans. So we have to learn how to use these, and doctors have to go back to school. They're all going back to school to learn the things we did not learn. In fact, most drugs come from a plant, but unfortunately they isolate one little facet of a plant instead of all the hundreds of little facets of a plant. And that's why it doesn't work as good. But anyway, so 35 years old, I would recommend at least you see a doctor once a year. The routine for a patient at 35 is you get a complete physical exam, a breast exam, and a pap smear. Then the doctor should be checking a chemistry panel, CBC, a thyroid, the blood sugar, hemoglobin A1C, the CRP, and the D. So your CRP should always be less than 1. And what do you do if it's not? Well, the first thing I do is I have my patients to go on omegas. Okay, they can go on omega-3s or they can do vegetarian. Some of my patients only use vegetarian oil. So it just depends. I actually check the omega levels on all my patients. So, but omegas reduce and quell inflammation. So I would recommend probably 2 capsules of something a day of 1,000 milligrams, 2 to 4. No one's overdosed from omegas or vegetarian capsules. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should just take it anyway. And vitamin D, you should be on at least 5,000. Your level should be around 50, give or take. And then if your DHEA for a female, a DHEA sulfate should be around probably 250 to 300. Now, because the adrenal glands, remember I told you, it makes 100 different hormones. DHEA is just the predominant one. So you can take DHEA, like 5 or 10 milligrams, and then you must support the gland. Now, I use all different things to support patients' adrenals. There is no one size fits all. So I do really personalized custom treatment because I have the patient here at some point in time, and then I give them adrenal supplementation, something to help fortify their adrenal. Then like I said, the girl that came in today for initial exam, she was 33. Went over her sleep, her water, her eating. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do everything in one visit, but I went over as much as I could because the only big medical problem she had was HPV, which is not the hugest things, but it's not a small thing. And so that's how I would approach it.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, I'm a patient at the Cancer Center and was doing good with my supplements and diet, but kind of got lazy with both. You're not alone. A lot of us do that. We fall off the wagon. And I'm just wondering which of the supplements listed would be the most important to consistently take, specifically to keep breast cancer from returning?
Okay, so I tell people there's two facets to cancer. So there's the lump or bump, right? And hopefully the lump or bump has not traveled somewhere else. So we have to get rid of the lump or bump through either surgery or cryosurgery or something. Now, sometimes we can dissolve it with other things. So I'm all for that too, because I have patients all the time that want to do, other things. So I always will go, okay, I'm here, I'm partnering with you, and, we're going to see what works. Because there's no guarantee, chemo only works 50% of the time. Sometimes patients need low dose chemo, but sometimes you can do it without chemo. So let's say that all the lumps and bumps are gone. Let's say there's no tumor on any PET scan or any CT scan or any ultrasound. So the final stages for any patient are circulating tumor cells. Those are the wannabe cancers. And then the cancer itself. So hypothetically, let's say you had surgery. So let's say you had surgery, and let's just hypothetically said you had some form of chemo, and let's just hypothetically said radiation. If you do surgery or chemo or radiation or combination thereof, the cancer most likely is still present, because cancer is not removed 100% with surgery, 100% with chemo, or 100% with radiation. I want to make that clear, because doctors always have the patient think, oh, everything's fine. Let's make sure, triple check, you're fine, okay? And that's what we do. So the patient needs to decide if they want to live.
I think that's the most important question.
Okay, so most important question. How bad do you want to live? Do you really want to live? Because believe it or not, I was talking to one of my guru doctor friends who's the doctor's doctor, and he was like saying, doctor, he's like telling me over the weekend, only 30% of the people I've checked really want to live. I'm like, what? 30%. So that would be my most important question to ask every single patient. Now you think, oh, sure, I want to live. No. Do you really want to live?
I think that's such a great question.
Yes. And so we've got to be committed beyond anything to ourselves, to the health of ourselves. Okay. And that is all encompassing. Okay. And if we were all taught this from a baby, this is all we would know. But now we have to unwind, unlearn all the patterns that happened to us, including me.
Yeah.
Long time ago, because DNA imprinting and imprinting takes place in the first 5 or 6 years. Yeah. So we were all taught to do a lot of things, sleep and water and move and all the things we live in the first 5 or 6 years of our life. So if we learned how to eat cupcakes and cereal for breakfast, like that's what we know.
That's right.
But we have to realize that there are incredible things to eat that are good for us and are going to help us. So you've got to be committed. Perfection, like I said, is never attainable. Don't ever do that. So let's say you mess up today and tomorrow, let's just say. So you start the next day, great. You start the next grade. Okay, I'm going to do it better today. So the eating part is non-negotiable. Yes, you're going to break the rules here and there, and I have patients. But if you break the rules like all the time, I give patients the analogy. We all took driver's ed, right? And one of the important things is you have to stop at stop signs, right? Why do you have to stop at stop signs? Because you may kill yourself, you may get a ticket, you may hurt somebody, you may damage your car, you might do a lot of things. So what do? Do you run the stop signs? No. Do you occasionally get away with running the stop signs? Occasionally, very small percent. Since we have stop signs in our body, but nobody wants to pay attention. Everybody wants to run the stop signs, and the ticket is diagnosis of cancer or heart disease or high sugar or high inflammation. because we have to honor the laws and rules of our body and nature.
That's a great analogy. That's a great
And I have to do it. I'm just like everybody else. Like, I'm not exempt from this whole process. So now the way I have to live is because I've had so many health challenges for 40 years, I really have to follow it or I don't feel good and I can't function. So just a little deviation on my part makes my body break down. So I have an alarm system in my body, very different than other people don't have as many alarms. I have alarms in my body. They go, no, you cannot do this or you are not going to feel good. So I just can't break. I can't run. I can never run stop signs. And most of you listening don't even know my story. We'll get to that in the future. I will be happy to share, all the things I've lived through. And that's why I have this passion to share with people that you can be an overcomer and you can be victorious with persistence and with community.
Beautiful, beautiful. Dr. Keneally, we have 6 more questions. Could we do a rapid round where I ask you and you maybe do answers, or are we running out of time and we
so let's do a couple more, but I need you to archive those because we will be answering all questions. We will be answering all questions.
Definitely. So I'm going to try to summarize a lot of these. Can I have the labs done even though I'm still breastfeeding? 2 times?
Oh, great question. I had a patient come in today who was breastfeeding. Yes, you can. Okay. But of course, that's a very temporary situation. So if you're breastfeeding, I would finish the breastfeeding and do the labs. The little young lady I had today, I needed to do it because she has other confounding illnesses that I needed to do it today.
Okay, but you recommend waiting?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably. Unless she has something seriously going on, I would do it right away. If there's something that she is going on that she's concerned about, go in and see the doctor. You can still get a vitamin D level. You can still check inflammation. You can still get all those adrenals. I checked this little girl's adrenals. Yes.
Can she start the vitamin D 5000 even while breastfeeding?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then this is a little longer, but what are the most important elements of a healing protocol apart from really wanting to live, to eliminate a primary tumor without surgery or cryotherapy? And I think the question is, what would be the top 1 or 2 or 3 things to eliminate this primary tumor?
Well, first of all, I don't know the size, so that person probably should write back in and tell me the size.
Okay.
And she would definitely partner with a doctor.
1 centimeter.
What, 1 centimeter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, she should see me, number 1, and I would tell her what to do because there would probably be a much more complicated thing. But I would start right now with visual imagery of that tumor disappearing day by day.
I think that's brilliant. Please watch the movie Heal, the documentary.
Yeah.
It talks about remissions, spontaneous remissions in
yes,
cancer.
Exactly.
And you can read the book about spontaneous remissions as well. And I think that's such a great recommendation. I did chemoradiation surgery 2011, new tumor 2016, fibromatosis, did RGCC, 7.7, 6.9, 3.6 after dental root canals. Oh, Lynn, I don't see your question, dear. If you want to post what your question is, we'll keep going. So there's a question here. I will get to here. So dental, there's another one on dental.
Yeah, well, dental, we should have a whole thing on dental, but dental issues can affect directly an organ in your body. So all your teeth all relate to an organ. So you must get a good biological dentist because root canals are like having a diabetic ulcer in your mouth. So unfortunately, you have to remove the tooth because the infection will constantly be there. Infections cause cancer, like head and neck cancer, 40% of them, over 40% are an infection. And that's why you get head and neck cancer. So having bad gums, you have a whole microcosm of bacteria in your mouth, good and bad, teeming with organisms. So people should be doing oil pulling regularly every day. Simple little thing they can do while they're waking up, making their organic cup of coffee or green juice, And that's just a simple, easy little way or like washing their mouth with baking soda. So yes, the dental factor is huge. It's big. It's real. Don't ignore it. Partner with a biological dentist.
Wonderful. 46 years old, diagnosed with DCIS, soon undergoing lumpectomy and radiation, concerned about radiation side effects, wondering if there are any supplements or things I can do to minimize side effects.
Yeah, so I don't know how many days she's getting, but yes, you're right. If you're going to do radiation, first of all, you must prepare your body before you have this surgery, because surgery is an injurious act. You must prepare the body, mind and body for the surgery. She should be eating perfectly, avoid all sugar. She should do an IV vitamin C before and hyperbaric oxygen. While she's doing radiation, hyperbaric oxygen makes radiation work 50% better.
Wow.
And it also it eliminates the side effects along with coffee enemas. And the supplement she would take is something called SOD, and that protects. I would do 3 times a day. It's embryonic wheat sprouts that protect you from radiation.
Wonderful.
And then you want to make sure you've seen a doctor before or after to do circulating tumor cells and bioenergetic testing.
I had germ cell ovarian cancer 20 years ago, have been on hormone replacement estradiol ever since, last couple of years on bioidentical estradiol. Turning 50 soon, I'm small bone. Do you recommend I stay on it, or is it okay to get off?
Well, if she's menopausal, she should have a complete hormonal evaluation, because just estrogen is one of the many hormones, and you're just taking estrogen. She needs progesterone and testosterone, even though she may have had a hysterectomy, which sounds like she did. So you need all the hormones. The latest studies show hormones are the natural drugs to your body. They help your brain, they help your skin, they help your immune system, they help prevent heart disease, they help prevent everything. So absolutely hormones, but she needs to get on pan hormone replacement, which means the entire menu of hormones, not just estrogen.
What does a CA2729 really tell? I've had a high of 258 and on Brance and letrozole. I am now 34.8. Does this have any true meaning?
She has what now? CA20?
2729. Yes. What does a CA2729 really tell?
Oh, that's it. Okay, so the tumor markers for breast cancer are CA15-3 and CA2729.
Yes.
And so those are tumor markers, and they will tell you if possibly. They're only 50% accurate. Never, 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 never rely on tumor markers that's a sign for cancer. So I tell everyone listening, if your doctor's just relying on that, that's very inefficient, ineffective way. People have cancer all the time, and their tumor markers are completely normal.
Mm. So what is a high of 258? Is that something Anon?
258? Yes, that's very high. I hope she is seeing a doctor for that.
Okay, and she's on Ibrance and letrozole. I am now at 34.8.
Okay, but there's way more than Ibrance and letrozole. I tell all the patients, Ibrance affects one pathway, letrozole affects another, but there's 100 leaks in the roof, and it's a tornado and a rainstorm. There's much more to do than Ibrance and letrozole.
Okay. And then we have, sorry, here we go. So, patient I was doing, I think we answered this one. Which supplements are the most important for that? Okay, let's go down to.
Well, we'll star that one for next time.
Okay, sounds good. Do we have time for one more question or not really? It's on NutraEval.
Yeah, one more.
Okay, last one. Thank you. So it's a long question about diet. It's about someone who is skinny but has lost a lot of weight. She has changed her diet dramatically because she had cancer. She's eliminated sugar, meat, fish, processed foods, but also nuts, eggs, dairy, and grains due to intolerances based on an IgG blood test. She is 169 tall but only weighs 45 kilo. I feel always hungry, irritable, crave more foods and healthy carbs. On top of that, I've been anemic my whole life, but now it's severe.
Yeah, well, she needs to see a doctor right away. Sounds like she has malabsorption. So she needs to see a doctor right away because she's very underweight.
Yeah.
And someone needs to work with her, but a regular doctor, just a conventional doctor, doesn't know how to really help, because that you've got to work with someone who's a nutritionist and a doctor who can really partner with her to see how she does and see her weekly to make sure her weight's going up.
So
That's serious.
And so I have a question related to that. Dr. Keneally, because she lives in UAE, which is interesting because I grew up actually in Muscat, which is a neighboring country. She says she's not had a chance to visit you. Now, and she sent in several long questions, which I have forwarded to Kitty as well. But the question I have for you that I think she would be very interested in, some of the others would be, are you beginning to practice telemedicine yet?
Yeah, we already do that. Yeah, we already do Skypes and yeah, absolutely. Every day.
So anyone who's interested can do a Skype consult directly with you,
right?
Correct?
Skype or telephone, either
or
way.
Telephone. Do they have to come in at least for one appointment, or not even for one?
Well, not even for one. We have patients in Australia, London, all over the world. So.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So then that wraps up our session for today. I'm just double checking to see if there's anything else. I'm actually going to come back into Zoom. Oh, that's why, because my screen is so big. There we are.
So we want to encourage I think we want to encourage everyone to share this information. You know, we want to be a blessing to everyone, and the information Rena's heard, I've heard, you've learned. We want to share it with your friends, your family, even doctors, because that's how we're going to change the world. So please share this information. Tell people to come on and join our community so we can really make a powerful impact.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. You know, the power of numbers. If each of us today shares with just 5 people, and Dr. Keneally and I want to, really impact and reach 1 million patients, 1 million people. 1 million will impact 5 million, 5 million will impact 25, and with 25 we'll hit 100. We actually can touch 100 million people in less than 5 years if we all just put our heads down and do it. So I second Dr. Keneally's request. I urge you to please take this seriously, share the information, share it with your friends. Let's kill cancer. Let's make it a reality that no child should ever suffer from it, and certainly not us adults. Thank you so much, everyone. I know there's still some questions coming in. I'm going to copy, paste. We'll get back to you with results. Stay on the program. Be strong. We know you can do it. And we'll see you on our next live call. Thank you, Dr. Keneally, from the bottom of my heart.
All right. Thank you, Rena.
Bye, everyone.